in Lesson 2, how do forms of water change? Follow a particle of water for a year. One day, the particle is rushing down a mountain stream. Later, it is frozen in pond ice. Later still, it is drifting high in the air. On its journey, water goes through many changes. Forms water can have. Cold weather can freeze water from a liquid to a solid. In some places, the weather is below 0 degrees Celsius all year long. In other places, the weather is cold just part of the year. In these places, water may freeze only when the weather is cold. Warm temperatures in the spring and summer keep the water in this marsh in its liquid form. What is the temperature in this marsh in degrees Fahrenheit? What about in degrees Celsius? Well, if you look at this, you can see it's about 22 degrees Celsius and about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. When water freezes, it takes up more space. The water in the bottle at the right has frozen. It pushes the sides out and out its top. So you can see that this water, when it freezes, it takes up more space. Let's look at our notes. Number 1, when water freezes, it goes from being a solid, right, ice, to a liquid, which is water. What temperature does water freeze at? Well, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Water can also become a gas called water vapor. The process of liquid becoming a gas is called evaporation. So water becoming a gas is evaporation. The sun's energy evaporates surface water. Then the water becomes water vapor in the air. You cannot see water vapor, but sometimes you can feel its effects on hot summer days. On those days, water leaves your skin as sweat, but sweat cannot easily evaporate if there is a lot of water vapor in the air, so you feel sticky from the sweat. Water vapor in the air can turn back into a liquid. This process is called condensation. So we got water gas. Water as a gas in the air is called water vapor. When it turns back into a liquid, condensation. Okay? Condensation forms the clouds in the sky and dew on plants. Go ahead, pause it there. When air cools, condensation turns invisible water vapor back into drops of water. Small droplets form clouds and fog. Large droplets that form on plants are dew. So here you can see cold temperatures in the winter cause the water in this marsh to freeze. Right, this water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So when this is at -10, -14 or so degrees Celsius, and 15 or 10 degrees Fahrenheit, that water is going to end up freezing. Here you can see water vapor that's condensing as dewdrops on a plant. Now, today we're going to talk about the water cycle, and this is how water moves around the earth. You've got another video in Google Classroom that shows you this. There is only a certain amount of water on earth. It must be used again and again. The movement of water from Earth's surface into the air and back again is the water cycle. So define water cycle. Movement of water from Earth's surface to the air and back. It's a cycle. It just keeps going around and around and around and around. Why does water turn to water vapor during evaporation? We'll read about that. Water changes form or state as it moves through the water cycle. The sun's energy and winds cause water to evaporate and become water vapor. Why does water turn to water vapor during evaporation? The sun's energy and wind. Think about if you've ever had something wet and you've either blown on it or you've gone like this to try to get something to dry. Well, you're trying to get the air to evaporate, right? You're creating that wind. Sun's energy, when things get hot, they evaporate. Like on a hot day, if you leave a glass out on the table outside or something like that, and you'll get all those dewdrops, all that water, that condensation around the glass, right? It's because that sun's energy is making the water evaporate. Here we've got precipitation that's falling as snow, and then it's coming here and it's going to evaporate. Some of that water might also flow down here into this pond, and it also will evaporate there. Water vapor rises into cooler air, cools, and turns water droplets or ice crystals. This process is called condensation. These water particles collect and form clouds. So why does water vapor turn to liquid water in condensation? The air is cooling. When water particles in clouds grow in size and weight, they fall faster. Water that falls to earth is called precipitation. Precipitation might be rain, snow, sleet, or hail. So why does water fall from clouds and precipitation? They're too heavy. The particles get too heavy to stay in the air. Examples: rain, snow, sleet. Okay, and next, what does the water cycle give us? Some precipitation seeps into the ground. There it becomes groundwater. Other precipitation falls onto streams, rivers, lakes, and oceans. Water that flows across Earth's surface is constantly moving downstream towards the ocean. A lot of groundwater reaches the surface in lower areas where there are rivers and streams. This surface water evaporates. In this way, the water cycle continues all the time, everywhere. So what does the water cycle give us? A constant supply of water. Tomorrow we'll pick it up and review the steps of our water cycle before we take our worksheet.